Shot here, melting down the wax. Double boiler. Got a bunch of wicking here. Bunch of little pine cones. What I'm going to do is take the wicking, wrap it around the pine cones, kind of zigzag it in around the pine cones and leave it out sticking out the top. And then dip them in wax a few times. And that'll be like little fire starters. So I'll see if I can show you once I've gotten that point done. I've been trying out these little fire starters. It's a little pine cone. I take the wick, wrap it around just like so inside the pine cone. Then I can take it and dip it in the wax. I do that about 3, 4, 5 times and I get these pine cone with a wick on the top. Made some little tiny ones as well out of some smaller pine cones. I don't know, kind of thought they'd be fun as well. Double boiling my wax. Turn the stove off. Taking my leftovers, putting them in a muffin tin or a little loaf pan. Say hello to the lion. And got a whole bunch of different candle waxes that I've really just been melting down old candle ends, different bits of wax I can, whatever I can get a hold of really. You know, the thrift stores are good for, you know, big pillar candles for $1. You know, this is I did that in two sections. This one here is still actually cooling. It's the other half of the one that we melted just over there. And, you know, also there was a big bag of candles in the thrift store, and there was some of these yard torch like ones, but they were all broken off. So I just melted some wax and a cat food tin. Stood it up in there, so that'll just be kind of like a little lawn torch. And these things are off the web as well. This is, I think they called them buddy burners or something. It's basically just a whole bunch of cardboard wrapped up really tightly, cut just to the height of the tin, wrapped up really tightly, and then hot wax poured in it. I put a wick from a lantern in here, just kind of easy, get it started, and then just like the pine cones, downscale, just for no reason really, just for the fun of it. But and I did the cat food tin size and a couple candle wicks, and then just a little cutesy actually tea light candle, little metal holder there. So anyways, just guess I could put these waxes. Tony here again. I wanted to see if I could show you successfully, without making too many mistakes, how I make my little pinecone fire starters. Got a bunch of wick from a craft store. I'm tying a little knot in the end, so it'll catch in the pine cone. I've melted some wax in a double boiling method. It's actually allowed it to cool, so it'll be closer to the temperature I need it to be for dipping. So if it's too hot, it'll just keep melting it off the pine cone. But if it's too cold, it'll take a big skin off the wax, which is another pain. So I just tied a knot in both ends, just so I can do two. I use my knife to cut it off in a sec here. I tie a knot in that because there's usually a spot in the pine cone that I can just kind of lock the knot in between a couple of the little branches there, or whatever they are, of the pine cone. Then I kind of weave it in
try and keep it near the base. Once you've gone around the pine cone once, you can kind of give it a good pull. It's not going to come out. That helps you get it in around the base. I'm just kind of zigzagging it away around. You have to turn that back on. I can see it starting to skin on the side of the pot. Just going to zigzag it around all the way until I get up to the top. And once I get to the top, I'll just kind of wrap around one of the studs at the top 3 or 4 times. Take my knife, cut it off, give it a little dip. I decided to use blue because I wanted to try something different. I've got pink ones and I've got white ones. Kind of tempted to do little blue edges on one of the white ones, but anyways, that's the color I'm going to be getting. I've already tied a knot in the other end of the string, so we can get rid of that and just use this end. Find that spot that there's like 2 close together. There's a spot. And just kind of help it down into the middle. And now I can start zigzagging our way up to the top. Pine cones are already fairly flammable, but to add wax to it is just going to make it burn longer. Cut this one off. Take my string out of the way. Take the knife out of the way. Give the top a quick dip. Helps hold it together. When I do the other part of the dipping process, when I dip the other end of the pine cone, this is all held together for me nicely. I'll get the other ones I made earlier out of the way. This is a brick of the pink I was doing. I'm just waiting for it to cool so I can pour the blue in. And off camera, before I started the video, I actually did a couple other ones. You can see a slight difference. It was more turquoise, but I added a little dye to it because I added some lighter candles and it made it almost a very, very light blue. So I'm going to put everything I do now I'm going to put in front of the fan. Tilt, get rid of some of the excess, set it down to dry near an air source. So here. It's about as exciting as watching paint dry, I suppose. It'll be the burn ones that'll be more exciting. Starting to look blue. Usually takes about 4 or 5, depending on the temperature of the wax, right? If it's very, very thin, then you do dip all day and keep melting it back off again. try that. There. And I did the one with the little blue tips on it. Alright, now you've seen it how they're made. And I can't show you building another block, but that's how it's made. Here's all the other pine cones. This one I did a little two-tone. This one never did open, this pine cone. All the other colors. And this is a little loaf pan. Every time I finish melting a batch, or I want to melt off any, I just put it in here and melt it off. This is where I've been drying them. I'll show you. Here I've got quite a bit of that pink one, a few reds, a couple of light green. This one's a citronella. Different color greens. This one's a kind of a real scrap. It's actually got a match. I didn't strain it off properly. But this is like a real nasty candle end, that one. And I made those buddy burners and some candles that I just added to tea light holders just to play with. But anyway, thank you for watching.